And we have here a 2011 or 2012 Kia Rondo. This one has a Kenwood head unit DDX 371. Customers complaining, the AM/FM doesn't work that well, and while there is Bluetooth, there's not much connectivity to it. It doesn't have Apple CarPlay, which is what his wife wants. To give you an idea, this was installed about 8 years ago by Future Shop, so Future Shop's not around anymore, to give you an idea of how old it is. So obviously it's cheaper than getting a new car. That's what his thought process is, of course. And we're going to be putting in a CarPlay Android deck and some new speakers. Customer has a Nissan with a Bose system, and his wife's really happy with how that sounds, so we try to bring this up to closer to there with some component speakers and a new head unit. And now we have the Kenwood unit out. We're just taking a look at what the parts were used. So nice thing about this is the previous installer used the correct harness. Everything works with this system. It's, even though it's 8 years old, I mean, there's no reason for it to go bad. And we have a ASWC1 here, which is good. And we do have the correct adapter to go to the new head unit, so we just need to reprogram this ASWC1 to work with an Alpine deck instead of the Kenwood. Kenwood uses that little one wire remote kind of thing here, and yeah, so everything works, and we should be able to make it still work with the new setup. So for this car, the previous USB was installed in the glove box. Customer doesn't want that. He wants it down here, so we're going to do a flush mount here. Then we're going to be using this Pack Audio flush mount adapter thing. We're going to drill a hole there, so I popped out this panel, and we're going to make it flush mount, so a little more OEM. Still going to have the cigarette lighter 12 volt there. And that's the factory door. We've got factory, it's like a 6 3/4, 6.5 inch speaker here, and a little tweeter on the bracket there. We're gonna put a bit of sound deadening, put a speaker baffle behind it, and we're putting in the JBL clubs component speaker. This head unit here is also compatible with Sirius XM, and our customer wanted to add the tuner. And the benefit of this tuner compared to your typical kind of FM direct is that you can skip channels and navigate your categories and whatever through the Alpine interface, through the doubled in screen. It's a lot better sound quality and also a more user-friendly experience. The tuner is about $100, including the GPS antenna for Sirius. You can see the baffle and the crossover. And now we got the steering control. You can do volume up and down, and also skip the songs. Skip. You can also change sources, so we can go from Android Auto right now to Sirius Radio, FM 123 AM, back to Android Auto. And there's the front door. Got the baffle in there, crossover, and a tweeter. And we got a few different things going on in the shop this morning. This 930 Porsche from Japan. We're going to take out the factory radio, put in something a little bit more classic looking. This 997's got a battery drain issue. Customer suspects it may have to do with the factory radio. It may or may not be. But he wants to switch it out anyways because this navigation unit from 2007 is not that usable for him. He wants something more modern with CarPlay, and we're going to be taking out the CD changer and all the stuff up front. This car does have the Bose system, so a fiber optic amp retention kit is needed to keep that little Bose sub in the back, and there's a bunch of speakers in this car, so to make sure all that works, we need to get the fiber module. Those are quite expensive, generally about $600 to $700 depending on what you need. For this customer, he doesn't need the steering controls retained, so none of that, but we will be doing a backup camera on this car as well. And then we just have this 991 GT3 in for a backup cam. Do a lot of these on the PCM 3.1 systems. We've got the Kenwood camera over there, mounted right in the middle. You can see the Kenwood. CMOS 130, not the best video quality as the Kenwood's entry-level camera, but still very durable and very wide angle, which is nice. PCM 3.1, we have a module behind the radio. This one's already done, so we're just waiting for a customer to pick it up. So 3 different 911s in for 3 completely different things. This one's keeping the factory radio, that one's taking out the aftermarket radio, and then this one we're putting in an aftermarket radio. And we have this Corolla here for a head unit. This is a new driver, got this car, CD player factory one. We're putting in a Bluetooth Pioneer deck. And then for the radio itself, we're putting in this Pioneer MVH S322BT. It's our best seller. Really simple radio, just blue illumination with good Bluetooth and good USB. And that's kind of all everyone's looking for these days to update an older car like this. So there you can see the head unit we have, the Bluetooth audio. I usually turn off the Pandora source. You can see what our customer was using before, this FM transmitter. These usually have pretty bad sound quality and the overall interface is not great. Here we have the aux input and the USB input. And you can see the storage pocket above it. There's the Pioneer head unit with the backup camera. We've got the USB right here for Apple CarPlay, and we've got the new microphone. Sorry, the car is really loud. So when we disconnect something like the CD changer or the navigation DVD drive, it's important to close off these fiber optic loops. Otherwise we lose the amplifier. Everything basically shuts down when you just leave it open. So this is a fiber optic loop. That's for the CD changer. This one's for the Navi. But it's not just as simple as just unplugging and yanking it out, because then you lose sound. And here we're working on this X5M. Just changed the rotors. Brand new rotors. BMW dealership wants $700 a rotor plus labor at $200 an hour. So we did new front brakes on this car, and those are the old rotors. Customer was complaining about a noise. These rotors are not that thin, but you can see there's a ridge there, and basically, yeah, it was squealing quite a bit even after putting on new pads. So he had to jump and get new rotors, but saving a couple $100 compared to dealership, so he's happy about that. These cars are pretty heavy, so and this one's got 70,000 K on it, so about the right time to do rotors. And on this 89 911, this is a dealership car actually. So we put in this Blaupunkt Bluetooth radio. Let me see if I can shine a light on it. It's pretty dark in here. There you go. That's a Blaupunkt. So it has that classic look with the radio removal keyholes too. So that fits in nicely with these classic cars. Doesn't have that shiny, glossy Pioneer head unit look anymore, so definitely matches a lot better with this classic interior. Gorgeous kind of burgundy color. And we also uninstalled a bunch of, there were so many wires down here, it's actually crazy. I'll show you the pile in a bit. Because it's a Japanese car, it has so many electronics under here, and obviously customer doesn't want that in their classic car. So yeah, there's the stuff we ripped out. There was a little ETC card for the toll system in Japan, and the old radio is right there. Carrozzeria. Seems like every JDM car has one of these Pioneer Carrozzeria head units, if that's how you pronounce it. I'm not too sure. There's the ETC little speaker thing. It's really annoying every time you start up. It's a Japanese woman talking to you. And right now we have two brand new Rav4's in the shop. This one is a white hybrid XSE. Both are getting Q800 Pros. Both are getting Alloygators. A little bit different setup. This one's getting a red wheel protector for the black wheel for a bit of contrast. There's the front camera. This one's got the digital rear view mirror thing. And this Rav4 is getting the silver Alligator, so a little bit more subtle on this one. This one is also getting a battery pack. This is a non-hybrid. This one is a hybrid. So. And here we have one of our shop cars. This is a 2016 ND Generation MX-5. We put together this track build really quick. So this car, we picked it up September 26th, I want to say, and we have a track day tomorrow, actually October 3rd. I'm not sure when this video is going to get published, but had to do a lot of stuff to this in a very short amount of time. We got EBC yellow brake pads for front and rear, Motul RBF 600 brake fluid, and we got the iBox springs on there now. I can show you. You can see the iBox. It's maybe a little bit too dark to see. Just to bring down the wheel gap a bit, there's still almost a whole fist of wheel gap, so probably coilovers down the road for this car, but these came off our NB 2000 Miata. These are Advanti Storms with the Bridgestone RE71s, and we have the iBox sway bars as well, but I don't think we can see it on here. And we did all the fluids, so RBF 600 in the brakes, also AMSOIL 7590 severe gear in the differential, and we needed a GL4 transmission fluid, so we did a liquid moly 7590. Gear 300 and the AMSOIL will work, but those are GL5s, and seems like people are saying use a GL4 for these. Two-channel dash cam install for this car. You want to take the A-pillar off so we can run the wire nicely, and then there's this little channel where you can run the rear camera wire through. Once we have the rear camera wire through, then we'll talk about where we can mount the rear camera. And there we have the rear camera mounted on the wind blocker, and the wire runs basically underneath this roll bar and down into here. Got lots of room to keep the excess and no interference with the seat belt at all. Just need to get this panel off, and yeah, that's basically how you do it on an ND Miata. The RF is basically the same too if you have the retractable fastback. This piece is a little bit different, but it's the same idea. There's going to be a clear wind blocker kind of thing, but yeah, it's not the best view obviously out here, but it is what it is for a convertible. And now that we got the rear camera mounted, maybe I can give you an idea of what you can see there. You can see it's a little bit cropped out by the top, but you know, helps a little bit. Better than nothing. It kind of works as a backup camera too, but not really. This is a Blackview DR490L. We just have this unit on clearance. So customer got out of this older Audi A6 and into this brand new one. So what we're doing today is taking out the F800 Pro 2-channel dash cam from this car and putting it into the new car.